Hey everybody, Sunday morning, I'm getting ready for church, but I want to jump on here. I get a lot of questions from people about specific application tips, and for me, that is the stuff that I really excel at because I am not in any way a makeup artist. I'm somebody who loves to do research. I'm a numbers girl. I'm a big dork. So I love to look up things and find easier ways to do things that I'm already doing, right? So foundation to me was the first one. This was the first thing that I really dove into, hi ladies, and really found out some really great tips on. So I love to share those. The first one I'm going to tell you, because can't show it to you because I did it before I started, is primer is amazing for under foundation. It's going to make such a huge difference. I like to put mine on and give it a minute or two to set. When you put your primer on and give it a minute to set, that is going to be best because it's not going to mix with the foundation you put on after it and dilute it. It's just going to help your foundation stay there. So that is the number one tip. But after that, now we can get into really fun foundation stuff. Now, I always used to use my hands for my foundation. I understand it's quick, it's easy, it's what you have there. That is fine. If you're going for a really light coverage, use your hands, not a big deal. If you want more coverage, a brush is always going to be better. So find yourself a great foundation brush. This is my liquid foundation brush. It's my favorite. It desperately needs to be cleaned. Ignore that. But that is going to make your foundation, it's just going to give it a smoother look. It's going to give you better coverage. All right. So today, for my foundation, I am using my BB cream. It is my favorite for during the summer because it's really good with hydration. Feels really nice on. I love it. I like to mix it with a little of my Touch Concealer. That is another trick. If you need more coverage, add a little concealer to your foundation. Going to give you more coverage, right? So I mix them up and I'm just dabbing my brush in them now. I have a little mixing palette down here. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to start in the middle of my face. This is really super important, you guys. You want to start in the middle of your face because if you are just putting it everywhere, you can end up with that ring around the face that we really don't want, right? So you start in the middle and then you blend out. All of your motions should be going the same way. So in this case, they're starting in the middle and they're going out. I'm not going down and then going back up. I'm starting in the middle and I'm blending out. And that is really, really huge. Now, I personally like to go a little lighter on my foundation than what my face color normally is. And then I like to use a bronzer. Hi, Maria. But you can totally match your skin tone perfectly if you want, if you're not going to be using a bronzer afterwards. It's just what I like to do. Now, so I've got most of my face covered, right? So what is the next step? Well, the next step, I should have pulled this out because I wanted to show you guys, but I didn't, and I don't have one out. The next step is buffing. So what you're going to be doing is you're buffing your foundation into the areas where you want to make sure you don't have any lines. You can use a brush for this, and honestly, I normally do, but another great product for it is a blending bud. If you have a blending bud, a blending sponge of any kind, it's really great for this step. So what you're going to do is you're just going to really quick and easy movements. You're going to buff into the hairline, into where your ears are, all the way down under your chin. What this is doing is it's making sure you don't end up with that, oh, I missed a spot over here. It's making sure you don't end up with that ring around the face. It's blending it in. You're this buffing motion, you're pressing a little harder than you are when you're putting it on the rest of your face. You're just really forcing the makeup to blend in with your skin better so you don't have any lines. You don't have anything that's not looking 100% natural, right? And sometimes I like to buff through some other areas. So I like to buff through my forehead a little bit. I like to do my nose because my nose is my weak point. You know, we all have those things we don't like. My nose is it. Around my nose, definitely, because that's where my rosacea gets really bad. So I like to make sure that I have my product really in there and a little bit on my chin, just because, and on my scar, my big scar from my fall. All right, so that's it. Now, I mixed a little bit of concealer in with my foundation. So I don't really need to go too much on the concealer, but I am going to go a little bit and show you guys. Your concealer should either be the same color as your foundation or a shade lighter. A lot of times, and I've said it before, people like to go 2 shades lighter. I did it for a while too. What I found is that on most people, if they try to go 2 shades lighter, it ends up looking too white. But 1 shade lighter is perfectly fine. So I'm applying my foundation with my ring finger because that finger you can use less pressure, and you do not want to put pressure on the sensitive skin under your eyes. If you have any kind of bags under your eyes, which Lord knows I do, it can make them worse. So you just use that that ring finger that you're not going to have a lot of pressure with. You can also use a brush for this as well. So I am just touching up a few things. You guys can see, I've said it many times, I go in a big triangle. I don't do the half circle because the half circle can make it look like you are just highlighting those circles under your eyes. I go in a nice big triangle. It's going to give me more highlight under my eyes. But as you can see, it's a little lighter, but it's not a ton lighter. It's just a little bit to really brighten my eyes up, make me look nice and wide awake, right? So my foundation is done. Everything's looking good. I don't have any rings, any areas when you can see where my foundation starts and stops. That's a big deal. If you want to set it, a setting powder, a pressed powder, any of those things are great. Do use the same techniques. Put them on in the middle and then kind of buff the product out. It's going to make a huge, huge difference. Thank you for sharing, Gina. If you guys have any other questions for me, please feel free to ask them. If you need help with deciding on a color, I've gotten pretty good at that. I'm happy to help. And I thank you guys for joining me. I hope everybody has a great Sunday. I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.